Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am Professor Christopher McGlothlin. I am the creative pit boss of Ghost Show Press, a small but mighty publishing arm. Well, maybe more of a finger at this point, but we're hoping to upgrade to a full-blown publishing arm. But at any rate, we are mighty, whatever digit or appendage we are, in defense of creators' rights, creators supporting creators, and waging a rearguard guerrilla war against the forthcoming age of AI written slop passing for books. We're humans writing human words about human art, and what I consider to be the premiere of human art, the motion picture. Now, myself, you might recognize me from such motion pictures, documentaries as The Exorcist Untold. But what you're here for is these beauties right here, the volumes 1 through 4 in our book, film commentary criticism series. Everyone's gone to the movies. You may have been with us going all the way back to transgressive horror. Maybe you're like Tim and you jumped on with the first subversive sci-fi. Maybe Fantastic Flops was your thing, or maybe you're brand new. You've been with us a year because it was transgressive horror that lured you in. But whether you're been in for a penny, in for a pound, welcome and thank you for being here tonight for us for the Ghost Show, our podcast where we talk about our ongoing Kickstarter campaigns like this one. Yes, indeed. There we go. We're trying to add a 5th book to this already difficult to lift pile. The next one, Subversive Sci-Fi Evolution. And you get, in the words of filmmaker Dino De Laurentiis, I give you no crap. There's nothing but quality writing and quality writer with quality writers like my 2 guests tonight. Rejoining us this week is writer, filmmaker Tim Thompson. Say hello to the people, Tim, and tell them about yourself.
Hello, people. I'm Tim Thompson from Houston, Texas. I'm a filmmaker, independent filmmaker, a theater designer. When I first read the first subversive sci-fi volume, I had to get involved. And since then, they've also let me write some stuff, which I'm hoping to do for you again this year.
Yes, indeed. And as one of a privileged few who's actually read what Tim had to say about the incredibly rare and weird project Omicron, I really, at this point, this transforms me into a fan of my own projects. I want people to be able to see this and read it. And before we get to our saying, here we go. Yes, indeed.
We'll talk about it later.
Yes, indeed. And before we get to our second guest tonight, here we go. Mr. Joe Larini. Hey, here you go. Came aboard with Fantastic Flops. Thank you so much for that, Joe. You know, if I could tilt this camera and you could see the hole in the floor I paced, wondering if Fantastic Flops would ever happen. So double thanks to you for making Flops happen. That one was too much of a nail biter for me. And joining us for the very, very, very first time ever, and soon to be making his Ghost Show Press debut in Subversive Sci-Fi Evolution, a longtime friend, incredibly talented human being who is a creator in multiple genres, multiple forms. But why should you hear my version of it? Let Jesse Scoble introduce himself, and he can talk about himself far better than I.
Well, I'll do my best. Thanks, Chris. So I'm Jesse. I have been a writer in game space for about 25 years now, starting in the trenches of pen and paper games from the early 2000s, which is where we crossed paths originally, and rolled a lot of dice and ran into a lot of folks at conventions. And for the past 20 or so years, I've been working more in a video game space. I was at Kings Isle in Austin, Texas for a few years on Wizard 101. I came up to Montreal about a dozen years ago now. I was at Ubisoft Montreal for 5 years on a couple of projects like Assassin's Creed Origins and Odyssey, and Far Cry 5 and Watch Dogs 2. And my swan song there was on Hyperscape, a short-lived but critically acclaimed battle royale, which was a lot of fun to work on. And recently, I am a senior designer at Beamdog, a small but mighty Canadian studio, doing all sorts of exciting things that I won't be able to talk about for a while. And beyond all that, my free time, as much as it is, the past year has been spent on a comic book, a Western horror, which is luckily we funded Kickstarter not too long ago, and a near future science fiction novel, hoping to debut in early 2026. So.
Wow. And you know, I'm already rooting for your novel for its own sake, but my mind leaps forward to what if there's a film adaptation, and what happens when the day one of my writers circles around and wants to do an essay on the movie based on your book. Is that that's the snake eating its own tail, pretty much, right? that's
that day comes, we'll find a way to cover the costs and.
I will. Maybe I can live my dream of hiring somebody else to be me for these shows. It's sci-fi. I'll tell people I regenerated. You know, it's a younger, prettier me. It's the way these things go. But enough of that. All right. Well, I want to give Jesse a chance to talk about his essay for the book. But Tim, we're in that over 50 guy danger zone that you remembered what you were going to say last week, and I know we got to get that out as soon as possible.
Oh no! Jesse should talk about what he's writing.
Oh, okay.
I
all
just
right.
have conversation topics. That's just when we start.
Oh, okay.
Kicking.
All right. All righty. Well then. All right. We'll go back. We'll go back. Put Jesse on the spot again. And you're writing about Pitch Black for us, and that I'm so glad that you and Dev pitched that to me, because that film it came out in an age where everything was either a CGI dinosaur or an asteroid about to hit Earth.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like everything that seemed to be dominant at the time has been forgotten. And yet in film circles all over the internet, it's still like, hey, have you ever given Pitch Black a shot? So I think you guys have hopped on to the defense of a real underdog here. But let me let you talk about Pitch Black. What drew you to the film?
Yeah, it was a sort of personal favorite. We talked about this a bit in the essay, and as you say, I worked on it with my regular writing partner, Devinder Thiara. He and I have been a lot the last couple of years, and hope to do a whole lot more going forward. And we were at university together. I guess when it came out in 2000. So, so I would have graduated by that point, but was still back in that living back in the Guelph area. And so we went and done some on a lark. I don't know if he remembers it as a cheap Tuesday kind of thing. We were big fans of genre stuff, of anything in that flavor, and this unknown Vin Diesel guy, maybe would do something interesting. And I think we expected it to be just a totally forgettable, terrible popcorn, more fun to make fun of movie. But while it is definitively a B flick, I think it punches above its weight. I think there's a lot of substance there. And it's something that's stuck with me for a long time. And part of it, I should look at it and see where it is across. I guess it came out, I don't know if it was right before, but around the Alien 3 era, because David Twohy, the writer-director, had done a unproduced version of Alien 3 after William Gibson, I think, had done like the first story or synopsis. Right. And so Toohey, in one of the interviews I dug up, was commenting that he wanted, he knew there were going to be a lot of similarities between Pitch Black and the Alien franchise. And so he wanted to go, do something to subvert those expectations and to kind of push things a little bit differently. Anyway, so kind of registered. I enjoyed it. We watched it a couple times over the years. It kind of seemed to hang together, hold up. And then I was telling you earlier, in the pre-show, the green room, that Dev and I have been working on this Western horror project for a long time. And if I'm being really, trying to be highfalutin, I'll describe it as Aliens meets Deadwood or something, right? But it's more Pitch Black meets Tombstone. Not that either of those is bad things by any stretch, but it's kind of in the zone we wanted to hit. So Pitch Black is, as I say, it's often been in the back of my mind, and it was a great chance to revisit it, to go back and say, okay, does this hold up? What levels are there to kind of talk about and explore here? And I had a lot of fun with it. Yeah, I know it's a really really enjoyable piece still.
Deb was on the show last week.
That's right.
Yes.
Yeah. So I was talking with him about it. I think what's so brilliant about Pitch Black is it is a pure genre thing. It's not filled with enormous amounts of romantic backstory or personal complications. It is literally the world is built well. You're given these really vibrant characters. Now survive.
Yeah, I think Tui wrote the script based on a previous script or a script that he rewrote it, I guess, when they bought it, and I think he added a good level. I haven't been able to find the real original that was called Nightfall, I think. But he does that trick, and whether it's him or the previous, the writers that kind of built it in, where I think certain people are really good at creating that verisimilitude, where you get just a hint, a couple of details of a character can be enough to give a sense of that backstory, that they exist, that they have motivations and interests and loves and fears and losses and things. But you don't need, as you say, like to go into all of that. You believe it happens, and you can then run with it.
It feels like it fits with like Walter Hill movies or Assault on Precinct 13 or those things that are, here's your space, the characters are really cool, go.
Yeah, I'm reminded of the comic book writer Warren Ellis, who Planetary and Authority and so forth, and some of his best stuff, where again, in a few strokes of the pen, a few lines of dialogue, a couple of hints, some cool images and stuff, and you can just imagine this whole backstory, these whole many worlds of interest, and that. Anyway, so I feel like that's really at the heart of Pitch Black. Now, what happens after Pitch Black is more successful than they expect, and Vin Diesel goes on to superstardom, and then they decide to revisit the characters, but there's a reason we didn't do those movies.
I'm a huge fan of Chronicles of Riddick. It's like, then they went into hard SF world.
Well, they went somewhere. I mean, it's a pretty spectacular increase of design and idea, and but they don't feel connected to that.
It's not the same
to me. Yeah, it feels like, hey, let's reinvent all of these characters in the world, and let's just kind of take this idea and go crazy with it, and that's cool. I clearly enjoyed it, but it didn't feel. It had the same sort of things that I was looking for in the original.
Yeah, it's funny. Pitch Black took me mentally kind of back to Fantastic Flops, because you're right to highlight the world building. I mean, there was clearly a lot of care put into a movie that knew it was not going to be the next Citizen Kane, and even really not even the next Armageddon. But the work was there, and it reminded me of the other films that pop up in this book here. It's like if a film had real care put into it, it eventually found its audience. How long it took people to ironically and unironically love the world building that went into Flash Gordon. People will openly admit to liking David Lynch's Dune, the film that handed you homework on the way into the theater. It's like nothing has these films, even if they weren't initially successful or weren't as successful as other films out at the time, they have outworked and outlived films that were clearly just soulless cash grabs. And that's something I certainly appreciate.
Yeah. Definitely.
All righty. Well, now we had an interesting response last week when I asked Dev about this question, but apparently you two had quite a debate going on for your runner-up choice. You want to talk about some other films that were in the running alongside Pitch Black?
Well, he was a big proponent of Dark City, and I think Dark City is great. It's not Pitch Black, so it's. Well, and as I said, right, Pitch Black is near and dear to my heart because it ties, thematically at least, to our other project. So there's an element of that keeps it there. Well, I know you regard it more as a TV show and not a movie, though, I would argue that it's a movie made for TV. But I initially, when you were talking about this as the open call, I wanted to pitch, V, the miniseries, the Visitors, from NBC's from the early 80s. which I think is, well, some of the 80s music and some of the skinny pants on the skinny jeans don't hold up quite so well for modern sensibilities. But I think there's a lot of really good material there, a lot of really good drama, a lot of allegory on resisting dictatorships. There's a lot there. So, I remember, I have to go back and see, but when it first debuted, I was pretty young, somewhere around 10, 8 to 12, somewhere in that range. We were living in Washington, D.C., and we had a house that only had air conditioning in the living room. And so it was a bonus to be able to like stay up late and watch something. And it was such a interesting and engaging and enthralling movie, even with the scary parts, which my mom was not as keen on. But the at least for me at that point, she let me stay up basically and watch it, every night in the series, and that was great. So it's funny. She's someone who came out of the human rights world. So having the reporters characters in that movie, the Donovan character and so forth, and being these resistance fighters and being out in the field, is something that I think resonated with her really strongly. And she was very much an advocate for as a humanitarian work and human rights. When she would come back from these long postings, she would watch a lot of like kind of terrible genre stuff and sometimes science fiction. She was big into Game of Thrones when it was on. Not so much genre, but when after one of her long postings, she came back and wanted something, and she saw I had the DVDs of The Shield on the whatever on the bookshelf, and I said, it's about these corrupt cops who really they're trying to find some redemption here, but they pretty much abuse everybody in the system, and it's pretty horrible. And she's like, well, let me check out one, and then she's like, watch the whole thing, Anyway, but she introduced a lot of these things. So anyway, so V was one that again really resonated, and I'd love to work on at some point.
And I do want you to hold on to that idea, because my dream is that these books will become such a regularly, easily fundable thing that we can launch into other areas. And I would love to get a similar series about television going.
That'd be so good, man. I'm gonna do Quark then.
I thought I was going to go too inside with Blake 7. but seriously, that's like I Love Lucy by comparison. So yeah. Listen, I got it just from the publisher seat. Honestly, a good chunk of the fun of doing these books is just seeing what you all will pitch me. It's just amazing the places your minds wander. It's like I got the best job in the universe. I really do. What's that line from Spinal Tap? I envy us. I envy me getting to work with people like you. It's amazing. Oh wow! So yes, please hold the V idea. That definitely want to do a TV one at some point, or at least try at some point. That's definitely on the list of things I would love to do. And getting into more obscure genres. There was a night that Mike Lafferty and Jason Walters cornered me, and I couldn't tell if they were being serious or not. But they went at me for like 10 solid minutes, wanting to do musicals. I'm like, really? But at any rate, I'm so glad you're along for the journey as I think out loud here.
Well, it's a great project to be involved in, and I've read a number of the previous collections, and I know lots of folks who've contributed, so it's fantastic. It's really, we're really keen to be involved.
Oh, thank you. It's been great to reconnect with old friends and meet so many tremendous new people. I just I just did the Goonie. I just did the thing about like the real treasure was the friends we made along the way, didn't I? It's okay. I own it. It's real. So, all right. So Jesse had a chance to talk about his runner-up project. Tim, you want to give us your runner-up now that you've remembered it?
Yeah. I finally realized that what I was trying to remember last week was that one of the runner-ups for this, and maybe I shouldn't go in too deep because maybe it'll come up again.
No reason it can't.
But another film that would be great to write about is a 2022 film called Artifice Girl. And this one's really good because I don't think very many people have seen it. The basic gist of it is it's a 3-actor, and it's very small. It's very closed room. It could have been a stage play. It might have been a stage play at one point. But the 3 acts are very specifically designed to go this way. The first act is that the developer of a new AI software is being interviewed by regulatory folks. And the reason he's being interviewed is because he has developed a perfect AI, like 12-year-old girl to live online to trap predators. Okay, just walk with me. And he has to demonstrate her AI capabilities as a character in order to ensure that they don't think he's contravening any AI rules or any other rules. Okay. The second act is when she has achieved sentience and is realizing that she is a woman being born in a new world. And his responsibility as a parent. And the third act is her ascending as she visits him as he dies decades later. And so it is a parable of child raising in a dangerous world, but it is also a parable of the responsibility of someone who would generate a consciousness for a commercial reason, or especially a controversial commercial reason, and then his responsibility as a parent as his project grew beyond his bounds.
Wow.
And it is very small. It's like a 4-hander. There are only a couple of characters. It's all in dark rooms. And it is so beautifully acted and so philosophically well thought out that it opens up the idea not of the scary AI or the replacing our jobs AI, but the idea that if you do in fact create something that, okay, the science fiction conceit is that it achieves sentience, then what is your responsibility as a human to have birthed it?
Right. I also wonder if they go into this at all, but because you said she was she was bait, right? She was a lure for predators.
Specifically, a program online to trap people.
So, I mean, I remember being exposed a tiny bit, and my job was not content moderation, but one of the first game publishers I worked for on the community side, I mean, the amount of questionable material that would come in through the general email address, thinking like, shouldn't HR get involved here? I mean, are we supposed to be exposed to this? And you know, you hear the stories about, you know, Facebook and Instagram and whatever moderators and what they're exposed to and their, you know, the impact on their psyche. If you create this AI, which if it has no sentience, you know, then there's no ethics. But then if it starts to,
what's the impact on her?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. At the moment of his dying, that is a moment that she brings up, which makes it very, very poignant and very interesting philosophical discussion. Now, I'm not a person who thinks that AI is ever going to be sentient in any way, but like a play, it brings up the questions that are very human. And that's why I liked the movie. It's very adult and very well thought out. So,
well, wow, I want to publish that, and that's probably a good time to mention that. Like, and if you would like to read about this idea, if you want to see V in this book, well, guess what? Here you go. You help out our Kickstarter. If we fund every $200 we make past our initial goal, we'll add an essay to this book, and I have people pitching me additional ideas. Or if you want to see our higher level goals, you can just straight up pick what you want to see in the next book. You can just tell us what you want to see. Maybe you want to hear more about this movie. I know I do. I know I want to publish it. But yeah, you can ask any of the nice folks that have gone that level and basically bought their idea into our book. We work with you. We do the movie that you want to see. We will, pending availability, I will go with the writers that you want to hear from. But yeah, if you will go that extra step to get us funded, we will go that extra step to make the book that will make you happy. And honestly, as pleased as I am with the things my writers have come up with, it's been an utter delight, the things that our backers have sent into us. Like, at least once every book, it's like, I never would have thought of doing that, but hey, cool, let's roll with that. And please, and so yeah, please donate what you can, and if you're willing to support us at a high level, we will pay you back. You can be the fourth block here. You can tell us directly what you want us to do. So, but yes, all right. So, yes, well, okay. And was that your only runner up, or did you have others?
I swear to God, there's like 5. I'm going to stretch them out through the entire month.
Okay, all right. Tune in once a week to find out another also rant.
All right, just
it's quite all right.
I love it so much.
It's quite all right. It's quite all right. Yeah. Sorry. See why I shouldn't host. I get too tickled to do this here. Well, okay. What am I doing? I thought of this last week, but if you missed it last week, I'm doing Star Trek Generations, because it's just that Star Trek was it wasn't just my gateway into science fiction or TV. It was my gateway into knowing that there are things outside of rural Virginia. Star Trek was very much the Coke bottle landing in the middle of the abandoned Pacific island to let us know that there are other people on the planet. And it seems weird that this is the 5th book and I haven't found a way to do anything Trek related. And I'm actually not writing about one of my favorite Trek films. I'm writing about Star Trek Generations. But to me, of all the failed Trek movies, and as someone who loves that, about the thing about every other one of them being only them only being good every other time is for real. So I feel weird, but it's just during the lockdowns, I got obsessed with how easy it would have been to have done a better version of Star Trek Generations than the one we got. And so now I get to talk about that in like this, just when we were getting used to there being media franchises, brands, the thing that made Skydance want to plunk down billions and trillions to buy Paramount was because they want to have the Star Trek brand. Is Generations is it's the first media brand trying to reinvent itself. And the lessons we can learn about how, as these franchises, which apparently are never going to die. I mean, we're getting a 3rd Tron movie, despite the fact that the first 2 bombed. It's like we have a Tron brand, whether we want it or not. Since we need to find a way to keep reinventing these brands that they won't let die. I found that there were some lessons you could learn from Generations and what to do and what not to do. And since I have to make it weird, I'm framing it from the perspective of booking old-time 70s territory wrestling. Why a guy like Bill Watts or Jerry Jarrett could have come up with a better Star Trek Generations than the one we got. So thank you folks for asking, but that's what I'm doing, and that's sort of the long version. Sorry for the long version. So
somebody could pledge extra and have you write that.
Oh, I am writing that.
That is what you're writing.
Yes. I mean, if you listen, you folks send enough money, I'll do them all. I'll go back. You send enough money, I will watch the Abrams films, and there is no truer act of love than to make me sit down like Malcolm McDowell and Clockwork Orange and watch the Abrams movies again. But I'll do that for you people. That's how much I love you.
And if you pay enough money, we could also get Chris to do reviews of all 3 Tron movies as well. So,
Hey, I'm going to see Tron on the weekend. So, next week I'll tell you. I mean, I have to see it because of the soundtrack. So
right. Well, I think that's really what those movies are becoming, right?
Yeah.
Music video.
The guy who has probably influenced my writing more than anybody else is a writer named Ed Naha. And if you're Ed, by the wildest chance, if you're listening today, I hope you're feeling better, man. So much love and appreciation for what you do. And he read he was the first critic I ever came across that reviewed Tron. And his review opens with I've got to finish this review and then head to the airport to talk to somebody I love a lot and may never see again as long as I live. And it sort of underscores how, for all of the money and the time and the effort put into Tron, there's not a single genuine human emotion into it. And for its huge budget, it's like Bayonne, New Jersey done up in Dayglow neon. And for years, that was one of my go-to insults. It's like Bayonne, New Jersey done up in Dayglow neon. And I don't think the franchise in my mind has ever recovered from that line. Maybe I'm being unfair and curmudgeonly here, but hey, I will look at it with fresh eyes for you people, or I will hire somebody who can. There you go. And I'm totally with you on the soundtrack.
that's
Maybe that should be one of our next books. It's like books where you only need movies. You only need the soundtrack. We could do that, and like Sergeant Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band.
Yeah, I'd have to think about that one for a while.
Obscure choices.
These Antonio Margheriti science fiction films from the 60s. You want to hear a great soundtrack.
Oh God, yes. That one Italian soundtrack they used for spy movies and westerns, and
he made 4 of these in the same year. He just recycled the same stuff, and they're great. It's like watching a psychopathic version of The Prisoner, but with the ringed satellite space station in it. That's
like a psychopathic version of The Prisoner, right? Yes.
with thigh-high boots.
Yes.
I'll be here in a second.
Well, for some of us, the wheel space stations feel like home, and always.
Oh, it would be definitely.
Oh wow. Okay. Yeah. Well, listen, before we wrap up tonight's show, I want to give everybody a chance to talk about interesting stuff that they're working on. And Tim, you have anything else you want to talk about from last week? Is the project you were talking about last time progressing well?
Well, yeah, I mean, no, not since last week, but
okay.
We have a feature in the works that we're going to hopefully shoot in the summer. It's kind of a Lovecraftian dimensional cosmic horror if it were made by what Ethan Cohen is doing right now with the lesbian noir. So I'll leave it at that. I want to remind everybody that I wrote the essay for this book, which I hope you'll read, about this shot on video science fiction movie from the 90s made by, at the time, high school kids in Venice, Florida. And there are so few science fiction movies made during the shot on video era that this one stands out. It's so out of time and so Lynchian, and it needs to be seen by more people. So please buy the book and read my essay and then seek this work because it's really good.
Yes, indeed. Yes. All right. And then Jesse, you wanted to talk about the comic that and here you go. There you go, folks.
Oh, awesome.
There's your link.
That's fantastic. So we have, I don't know if Deb showed this week. I didn't see the whole.
Ooh, actual copies.
Nice.
This is a test copy, test print.
Sweet.
Yeah, we're really happy with it. So, although interestingly, when we were first pricing this out, the printer we looked at, the heavier stock was cheaper than the the later stock. So we're like, sure, let's go premium. Let's do it all up. And we get them like, oh, this is too heavy. This doesn't feel like a comic. It feels weird. It feels the pages are too heavy and slick, and it's not, it's good, but it's not right. So hopefully we've redone our numbers and we're waiting for the next ones. But it looks like that.
Oh, I swear to God, man, is Alex Cox could make this movie, or Alex de la Iglesia could make this movie?
Well, we went into this as a movie script to start with, and then ended up saying that we can't afford that. So
that looks gorgeous.
Oh, black and white is so perfect for that too. Oh.
So the so Dead Money, it's a Western horror. It's going to be a limited series. We're estimating about 10 issues at this point, depending how it all kind of breaks down. We have the whole thing written out, the whole story written out, but as we adapt it from our original screenplay format into comic pages, into comic script, certain scenes get updated, revised, polished. Certain things we're like, oh, this is not, we need more space for this, or we should, take a little, alternate path and sort of, see some other, things here and there. So all of that is kind of an ongoing process. But we have orders are in for the first print run, so we're waiting for that to come in with the variant covers, which look amazing. We really lucked out with some of that stuff. And now, as that kind of gets wrapped up and we fulfill orders from the Kickstarter and try to find other ways to make it available, we have our artist, Tomas Ira, who is hard at work on the second issue, and we are going to do another pass on the third issue script very soon, and hopefully get that in the channel, so in the pipe. So yeah, it's a lot, but it's a lot of fun. So.
Well, now let me ask you about if you don't mind talking about the comic for a little bit here. We can tie this into movies here. Now, the anything zombie related, we pay homage to Romero. Nothing wrong with that. But I'm just curious, where your Western influences come from? What kind of Western films or maybe even TV shows fed into this for you guys?
Well, when I first pitched the highest concept of it to Deb, I had been in Austin, Texas for a year. And while Austin is not exactly Yuma territory, Arizona, it's not so far away. And I was reading a lot about the desert border stuff, Texas history, general sort of Western vibe at the point. And one of the most influential books at the time was The Devil's Highway by Luis Alberto Urrea. And it was a great writer, and he wrote a story of a number of Mexican immigrants who came up over through the Arizona border there, and how bleak and harsh and awful the territory is. And he has this tiny bit in the first kind of introductory chapter where he talks about some of the kind of myths and legends of the area, and it's great, it's evocative. I mean, it really doesn't have any bearing on the rest of the book, which is a true story of this harrowing journey. But those are the things as a genre person, as a fantasy, science fiction, horror, gamer and writer and so forth, that leapt out to me. So I circled those a lot and said, okay, what can we do with this? What is this as a reference point? And as well, things like Tombstone, Deadwood. I grew up on the spaghetti westerns, on the No Name series, all of that stuff kind of fed into it. And by this point, I mean, when we were first talking about this, which was quite a long time ago, the Western had become, a more modern, a more sort of postmodern. Can you say that about a Western? But with things like Unforgiven and Deadwood in particular, as a way of elevating the story of that era. And looking at it a little bit more, perhaps honestly, at least not having some of the old blinders on. So we wanted to kind of engage those themes. And when we were first talking about it, Dev and I he flew down to help me drive back from Austin up to Toronto. And so we had a long sort of 3-day drive looking at, America and thinking about it a little bit. And as, sort of two Canadians, I mean, I've lived a bit on both sides, but and have roots that go back, although not so much to Texas by any stretch. But anyway, I mean, all of those things kind of were interesting factors, and it seemed to have a lot of appeal, and it started off as, let's do this kind of quick and dirty, and it's grown and it has not been quick. And it's sat with us for a long time. So we feel that there's a lot of interesting ideas to explore within this.
Yeah, well, it's the preview art of it is fantastic, and by what can I say, folks? Go to the link, check it out. It will win you over as quickly as it did me. So there you go. Well worth your time and effort. So check it out. 4 stars. Professor McGee says check it out.
I will give you one sort of flip on the movie side, right? And the challenges that we kind of kept coming across in kind of breaking the story down and how to present it, was we were really taken with ensemble pieces like Alien and Aliens and Pitch Black, and The Thing, and movies where you don't necessarily know kind of who the protagonist, like the hero is. Maybe there's a couple that are vying for it, or there's overlap. And especially movies that had a slow burn, stories that took a while. The atmosphere was there, but the horror, the monster didn't necessarily show up for quite a while. But it's very hard when you're asking someone to read something for the first time, to give you that buy-in, to trust us, wait with it. So we had to make certain adaptations and so forth to try to address those concerns and see. But I think we've come with a good balance of what we wanted to do versus what the audience needs and wants. And, well, we'll see. When the payoff comes.
Sounds awesome.
Well, yeah. Well, we are all looking forward to it, and it's an honor and a pleasure to be able to boost your project as creators looking out for creators. All righty. Well, gentlemen, I think we've given these people plenty of reason to check out our Kickstarter, I hope, and plenty of reason to look forward to your movie, to look forward to things you're working on. So we'll wrap it up for this week. And before we go, just one last pitch, folks. Thank you. Well, thank you all for getting us off to a fantastic start. Oh my gosh.
It was good, right?
Very good. Very good. Very good. Thank for those of y'all that don't know, I actually am a professor. I actually am giving 8 a.m. lectures, and my gosh, the way you lovely people are being to me, I'm going to be able to sleep and be awake for my classes for the next month. And you're giving a gift to me, you're giving a gift to these creators, but you're giving a gift to my students. And I can't possibly thank you enough for all of that. I'm not passing out in the middle of conversations with my wife. It's just my friends are no longer sending me gasp emojis after they see me on these shows. So yeah, it's really, you've made everything better with your generosity, and I'm looking forward to delivering to you one fantastic book, which can only get better as you guys tell us what else you want to see in it. So thank you for the support, and please keep sharing the URL, and please keep donating generously. We couldn't have done any of these without you, and we can't do any more without you. So please, we'll keep bringing the great books as long as you keep helping us out. And we will be back here next Sunday at 8 o'clock Eastern time for another installment of the Ghost Show. But until then, thank you all very much for tuning in. Thank you, Jesse and Tim, for joining us. Thank you all for tuning in. I am Professor McGee, and this has been the Ghost Show.